Take some of the 27-inch pieces you had left over and go ahead and cut them down to exactly 24 inches. 24 inches. And then you're going to cut 30-degree angles on each side. Now we're going to build the main rafter ring. There are the 6 pieces with 30-degree angle cuts that will be turned into the main rafter ring. Now what you need to do is you need to lay these out on a table, make sure all the lengths are exact. This one here is off by about 1/16 of an inch. I'm going to go recut that on the saw. I'm just going to take a little sliver right off that. Once you've arranged these things in a hexagon and you make sure that all your cuts were good and everything fits right, start by gluing the corners together. Glue 3 at a time, then stack them on top of each other. They should line up pretty good at all the corners. There's going to be, a little bit of twist because of the wood, but don't worry about it too much. If you want to, go ahead and put some screws in here now. You're going to use 2 screws per corner. One's going to go in low from this direction, and one's going to go in high from this direction. Put the 2 halves together and glue. You should also have a bunch of these little blocks left. What we're going to do is we're going to cut 30-degree angles on one end, just to be kind of decorative, I guess. And then these are going to be attached to the uprights and used as a space for the rafters to sit. So I'll go ahead and show you how those attach on in just a second. But go ahead, take 12 of these and cut 30-degree angles on them. Just make sure they're all the same length. The small blocks you just cut are going to be mounted on each of the uprights in the center. These are the uprights that are going to hold the rafters. This gives you a little bit more space for the rafter to sit on. Go ahead and make something goofy like this. Clip it on over the top. Go ahead and glue your block on, using this as a guide to where it should be positioned. Then go ahead and put 2 screws in each one. You can see there's a little bit of a gap on here. That's okay because one of the uprights is twisted a little bit. It doesn't really matter as long as the rafter is able to sit on the top support pretty evenly. Double check your middle uprights. 19 1/4 between them. Each side of your hexagon center ring is 24 inches tip to tip. So go ahead and put a mark right in the center at 12 inches. That'll help you with aligning things. After you put together your rafter ring, go ahead and measure 7/8 in from each corner and put screws through, just poking out a little on the other side. So that's 12 screws, 7/8 of an inch in from each inside corner. This makes it easy, so once the ring is up here, you install your first 2, pivot the rafter ring up, and then you're able to just throw the next ones on and screw them right in because the screws are already pre-mounted. And there's your completed center ring. 24 inches tip to tip, 30-degree angle cuts. 6 pieces of wood. Let's build some rafters next. Now we're going to do some main rafter cutting. What you want to do is, you want to take some of the 8-footers, cut them down to 68 inches. Next, set your saw for 22.5 degrees. It's marked 22.5 on most power miter saws. Cut your 22.5 degree angle at one end. This is the end that's going to be attached to the rafter ring up top. After you have your angle cut, we're going to call this the bottom of the rafter. You want to measure from this bottom point of the angle down to the other end to 64 inches. Make a little mark there. Next, set your T-square to go from that point to the end of the wood. Go ahead and mark a line along there after you get your T-square set. This is going to be the angle that the rafters are cut at. This part of the rafter sits on the wall of the greenhouse. So in other words, something like this. Mark it, and when you cut with your saw, you're going to make a cut from the 64-inch mark up to the 68-inch end of the wood. You're going to wind up with something like this, minus the bit for the width of the saw blade. So there's the completed rafter. You're going to make 12 of those. But for now, we're going to make 4, which will hold up the rafter initially. To assemble the rafters, climb up on a ladder. While holding the rafter, put a single screw down into the bracing block, not the wall. This allows you to pivot the rafter once you let go. This is how almost all the rafters are installed. Next, we're going to put up some rafters. Here's those little brace blocks that you put in earlier on the frame. Take your 2x2 and check its fit. There should be a little bit hanging off the inside. That's okay. What you're going to do is, you're going to place the rafter on, use your fingers to check to make sure none of it's hanging off on this side. You're going to place a mark at the center of your bracing block. The screw is going to come down through the top and into here. Quick tip, to make sure your screw goes in straight, set your rafter against one of the walls, take a look at your center mark, hold your drill or impact driver really level. Go ahead and put your screw through. Now that you have your marks showing you where the rafter is supposed to go, go ahead and stick the rafter in place. And put your screw in. The rafters will hold themselves up and you're able to pivot them a little bit. Here's another view from the outside. You're going to put one rafter on one upright and put your other rafter on the opposite upright. Notice how they line up. We're going to put 2 rafters on first, then we're going to put the center ring up, put temporary screws in, and swing the center ring up into place. This is how you do it with just one person available. It should look like this. One rafter, another opposing rafter. Now we're going to go ahead and place the center ring in the middle. Here's another view from up top. If you did all your cutting work correctly, this should come out perfect. We're going to add 2 more opposing rafters, then swing the ring up into place and lock it with the screws that we already have ready in the ring. Then you're going to proceed to put on all the rest of the main rafters. So 2 per side of the center ring. Once you start attaching all these rafters, you're going to notice everything's going to perfectly align into position. You've got your other 2 rafters in now. Go ahead and swing the center ring up and attach the screws that you have waiting in this ring. Now the first part of rafter assembly is complete. Here's another view. Here's a view of everything from up above. There's the front door. Here's your 5 equal walls with the uprights that are 19 1/4 inches. Here's your rafters continuing on at 19 1/4 inches. 2 rafter pairs, and the center ring holds itself up level. Take a break.